Now, a bit of background about our speaker coming on board to tell us more. Now, he is currently responsible for PSA SG's Infocom Technology Division's infrastructure and cybersecurity architecture, as well as technology planning. Now, with over 20 years of IT experience, our speaker has been involved and has led various IT projects from application development to infrastructure planning, as well as architecture. With that, please help me to warmly welcome on stage our Assistant Vice President for Infrastructure and Cybersecurity Architecture, PSA Corporation Limited, Mr. Terence Yeo. Mr. Yeo, please.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here today. Lionel has given a very good overview of Maritime sectorial perspective of managing cyber risk. For this segment, I will share more from a practitioner's view. Before I start, I'd like to pose a question to all of you. Do you think increasing adoption of emerging technologies in a port ecosystem has any bearing on cyber risk? My name is Terence, and I'll attempt to address this question in the next 10 to 15 minutes of my presentation. Okay, some technical issues here. First, let's take a look at the modern port ecosystem. As a port that's undergoing digitization, one would expect increasing deployment of APIs, IoT, IoT, and automation technologies to support business initiatives like better productivity, increased data insights, and improving safety standards. Such technology adoptions will radically change the way port users interact with the port. For instance, a ship captain might use 5G or Wi-Fi 6 to wirelessly transfer pay plans from ship-to-shore systems. Port workers leverage on mobile, tablets, and wearables to conduct safety inspection as well as monitor signs of health hazards which can impact lives. Engineers remote controlling cranes using OT protocols modernized with a IT TCP flavor. Suppliers and vendors who frequent the restricted port areas, or at times even remotely connecting to carry out maintenance activities. With all these modern use cases involving IT, OT, and physical, it sure does look increasingly difficult to manage, let alone mitigate cyber risk. So what can a port operator do in view of such mounting challenges? I would like to borrow a term coined by my CEO, known as Total Security Convergence, to explain an approach a port operator can adopt for managing cyber risk. Total Security Convergence is a cyber mindset to systematically consider IT, OT, and physical risk domains and analyzing them as a whole to derive insights and strategies, thereby mitigating cyber risk. This mindset will need to be overlaid with demands from regulators, both external and internal, who formulate minimum acceptable baselines governing cyber risk. In PSA's context, it will be CSA's CCOP 2.0, MPA security standards, and PSA's internal IT security standards and policies. These standards will contextualize threats into applicable maritime actionables for follow-up and remediation. On the supply side, we will reference industry best practices such as NIST, Material Attack Framework, and Defense in Depth to work out a people, process, tools plan in elevating cyber defenses and postures. Internally, we have a group cybersecurity master plan that serves as a cyber compass to guide PSA Group forward. In fact, the Group Cybersecurity Master Plan was recently awarded CSO 50 for demonstrating outstanding thought leadership and business value. Supporting all this are 5 key pillars, which I'll elaborate in the next slide. Just a bit of fun fact here, to note that the 5 key pillars are shaded in colors used to reference PSA's mapping to Herman Brain Dominance Instrument Framework, or HBDI in short, as our corporate tool for aligning of communications throughout the organization. In this case, blue refers to analytical, green refers to organize, red refers to people or interpersonal. These 5 key pillars are organized into respective task forces to delve deep into specific areas. First, we have the technology and architecture planning, and it refers to the technical oversight of work streams involving IT, OT, and physical cyber projects. This is a governance unit to standardize and chart technology roadmaps moving forward for total security convergence. Next, we have the compliance operationalization, which deals with how, when translating standards to actionable work streams, as multiple compliance standards may result in overlapping clauses. This unit's main function is to identify, deduplicate, and communicate harmonized implementation methods for the operations team to execute. The Cyber Risk Synchronization is a task force looking across our enterprise risk management framework and ensuring the risk model identified during risk assessments have consistent interpretation. Identity access, administration, and governance is a discipline to instill zero trust principles in a new system design, as well as level up identity management practices. In the current cyber landscape, whereby hackers are actively exploiting identity and credential thefts, the need to safeguard identity has elevated in posture. Multi-factor authentication is a key technology which I highly recommend to enable, as most identity and credential thefts can be mitigated through this technology. Humans are usually the weakest link in cyber defense. This makes uplifting of competency, skills, and awareness a key focus for better cyber resilience. This can be achieved through a coordinated effort to pull together like-minded resources to educate and create outreach programs with the single aim of reducing phishing clicks and facilitating reporting of suspicious emails or behavior to our cyber ops team. By strengthening the human core, cyber risk can be better managed. With the 5 key pillars firmly anchored, we will move on to engaging people who are deeply involved in this ecosystem. In this highly connected pod ecosystem, there are a variety of stakeholders, both internal and external. It's through a deliberate strategy to partner alongside these stakeholders and engage freely on cyber matters to build trust during peacetime. As some examples of peacetime collaborations include performing cyber supply chain assessment to determine N-tier vendor or service provider dependencies. This gives the organization an insight into any single point of dependency, if not treated, can potentially introduce system failure if that component is somewhat compromised. CSA has just published a critical information infrastructure supply chain program in July this year with the aim to help organizations take progressive steps towards reduction of cyber supply chain risks. Another of such peacetime collaboration include tabletop exercises like MPA Cyber Maritime. This is a good test bed to validate sectorial resilience towards cyber attacks and how each stakeholder can chip in to help each other during a crisis. Lastly, within the organization, business continuity planning needs to be sharpened together with customers so that in times of crisis, everybody knows exactly what to do and how to go about doing it. In closing, total security convergence is not just a cybersecurity matter, but rather a collaborative effort amongst business stakeholders, regulators, and management to work alongside a safe and secure tomorrow. To reaffirm this commitment, we have actually created a Captain America-like shield called the Security 360 to signify our collaborative approach towards total security convergence. I wish you all the best in your cyber journey, and thank you very much.